Hey, so we are fresh back from the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal in London. My voice is gone. It was incredibly hype. The venue was incredible. The experience was incredible. And I got to play with the game. Bear in mind, obviously, there's lots of people wanting to play. So we didn't get to sit there in the lab, test everything. Even players like Foxy and stuff said we spent most of the day there. Didn't really get too much time with it, even though they were playing. Ketchup and Mustard are doing videos, so if you follow them on YouTube, do be on the lookout for footage from them. And obviously, as always, they'll be there with the awesome information and combos and stuff like that for the characters that have been shown. Now, why I'm making this video is to share my opinion on the MK11. Bear in mind that this is strictly it's not even a beta, so it's pre-beta build. It's very, very early days. Nearly everything is subject to change and may possibly will change. So if I say things like, well, the pokes felt really good, there wasn't much poke mashing as such, although yeah, you can do down one twice on block. The first one is pretty much -5 at least. Garrus is down threes like -8 or something. In general, this mash heavy playstyle where when you're up close to someone, they're just going down one, down one, down one. That's pretty much gone, which leads to these interesting scenarios where both players are kind of playing chicken with each other, or there's just a lot of respect up close, because in this game, it's there's a mechanic called crushing blow, and there are different requirements to get a crushing blow. And I have been told, although I can't confirm, obviously, you can only get one crushing blow per move that has one per game. So I know that's quite a lot to take in, and it'll obviously be easier once we have the game in our hands and we're able to test it. But for instance, if you counter hit with a down 2, so down 2 is pretty much going to be one of your go-to anti-airs in this game. It does have some invulnerability frames on it as well, a little bit like Dragon Ball if you've played that. If they're punching or you get a decent counter hit on them with it, you will do a crush counter animation where it'll zoom in like an X-ray, and they'll do a bit of extra damage there, and also they'll pop up to allow you to continue the combo. So with that being said, because of these crushing blows existing, there's a lot more thought into every button press. If you're just going into this game and you're just mashing everything, yes, as with all fighting games, some button pushes will work, some won't. That's just the way fighting games work. The punishment for them is a lot heavier in this current build. And just a bit more of an explanation as why is because the crushing blows deal so much damage. For instance, Geras, his crushing blow that he has for one move, it's his string, it's 1-1-2 or 1-1-1. It's, remember, very limited time with this, and then into throw, but he has to get a crushing blow with it, which I believe is he has to actually hit the overhead part, not even counter hit, just hit the overhead part as like a guard break, and he then picks them up and snaps their spine in like an X-ray fashion. Now we can only do that once per game, but it's doing like 30% of the health. And it sounds really bad, but I played, quite a few games with the character, and I only really got this off maybe once or twice, the entire time I was there. It's not something that these crushing blows aren't something that take priority in the combat. It's kind of like this very hype system where it happens and it slows down. And it's like a punishment system for people just making the wrong decision. Feels good when you get one, feels bad when you're against it, but again, it's going to help you learn, I got crushing blowed in this situation. So Scarlet, she has a back one too, which I really like. It's quite long range. I'm not able to test it. I can only go off feel. It feels like if you counter hit them with the second part, you get a crushing blow and it does more damage, and it gives an animation. It's really cool, but again, you can only do that once per game. It's just how that mechanic is. And It feels good to do. It doesn't interrupt gameplay, although it might look like it's kind of standard gameplay. In a way, because it's quite fast, it gives you a chance to reset. And in this game, the neutral opportunities are more. So what I mean by that, in MKX, you can get hit once, and then you can kind of just get like pressured until the game's over most of the time. You know, you just pressure, see what Liu Kang can do. In this game, there's going to be a lot more decisions that need to be made outside of just generally up in your face mashing strings. So I'm really sorry, my voice is just so gone on this. So it's very hard to do the video, but I've not got too much more to say. So there's a lot more neutral opportunities. It's the stages are shorter in length than Injustice 2, so even if there is a lot more sort of there's more zoning in it than in MKXL, but it's not overbearing on the gameplay. You still feel like you want to get in, and the jump-ins are pretty good, although the anti-airs are also good. There seems to be a very fair balance there. The other thing is you now have meters for both offensive use and defensive use, and depending on what you use them on, you might use one or two, and they recharge. They're like a cooldown, so if you ever play something like Overwatch or anything like that and you have to wait for abilities to recharge, it's kind of like that. and that's how you use them. And also, not just that, there's not a universal meter burn button anymore, it's move specific. So in that regard, you'll have to learn the different situations and the combinations that you'll need to use to execute your meter burn moves on your opponent. I'm not too sure why they've done that. Maybe there's a grand master plan with it. So far, it just seems strange. Like, it's not a bad thing, because, you know, you just go into your move list and you'll have learned them within a day. But ultimately, it just seems strange. Why do it? You know, it's a little bit weird. The movement feels pretty good. It feels very, like, the playing the game feels great. Like, the game feels great to play. The character model's obviously bigger, so it's like Injustice, you're so far away and all that. In this game, you're a lot bigger. It feels a lot more closer together. The zoning, there's quite a lot of startup on a lot of the zoning stuff. There's a couple of things in there that may need some tweaks and that lot, but from an early build perspective, it does seem quite good, and I did feel like most of the games were actually, you know, beating the opponent up and not just projectile spamming to death. There were instances in some games where that would happen, but in general, it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm against Deadshot, I'm just getting shot to death. You know, a lot of the projectiles had, you know, like some kind of risk reward system. You could definitely get jump ins on people. One of the things that has been noted, and I will mention, is they may need to just increase dash speed, because, you know, you don't feel like you're gaining enough ground on a dash, and that's fine. We'll see what happens. It is an early build. Hopefully they take feedback from the community and we can build this beautiful concoction of a fighting game that blends together all their different past sort of projects, from Injustice to Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X, and it's like an amalgam of all of their different things where they're taking risks, they're trying new mechanics, but in the past where they've also taken risks, they're learning from their things. They're learning from past mistakes and then improving upon them with game after game. So even if Mortal Kombat 11 isn't the best game ever made, I'm pretty confident at this point NRS will at some point make a ridiculously good fighting game. Like, it's only, for me, getting better. So just a few more notes before I finish this up. If you're a fan of the ultra fast get in and press buttons thing of Mortal Kombat X, I'm not going to say you're not going to like the game. I'm just going to say it's a different style. There's a lot more decisions that need to be made in the neutral in terms of picking the correct normal for the situation. But you will be using normals, you know, like think of Soul Calibur and things like that. Zoning, obviously we don't know the whole cast, we don't know what it's all capable of. I play Scarlet. I would say she's quite a zone heavy character, but she did have a displacer teleport as well, so I could get in. there was a good mix when I was playing, but again, I'm not playing the game to be broken or busted and to win tournaments. I'm just playing for fun, so we don't know how the meta will shape out in the end. So yeah, the game. Oh, that was a nice. I've never seen that before. That was good. So yes, the game was interesting. It's not in your face like MKX was, but that was one of the big complaints at the time. Like, we look back at MKX now because Injustice 2 was so sort of like a snooze fest. We welcome MKX, but in general it was a little bit too like just get in your opponent's face and just plus on block pressure. You know, like, this is like a game where you're going to have to think about your movement choices, you're going to have to think about your defensive options, and you're going to have to use them well if you want to win. Not so much, I'm just going to throw everything I can at my opponent and see what sticks. Again, early beta build. From my playing of it, I really enjoyed the game. My wife also enjoyed it as well. Like, everyone that was there had an absolute blast of it. I played for about an hour or so with a few friends and other competitors as well, like Upay and stuff, and we all really liked it. We liked the depth. There wasn't like the one thing that people may not like outside of the neutral side of things. They may not like the combo system, because although you have got your generic sort of, like, Scarlet's got 2-1-2, and then you can do 1-2-4 into a special move, and the 2-1-2 pops them up, and then you can do 1-2-4. Now, obviously, we are so early with the game, you know, so early with the game, so it's an early build, so we've not got optimal combos and stuff. But in general, you're not going to be doing ridiculously long combos. And the damage is a little bit less overall, but you don't, just because of the style and the pace of the game, with the current damage levels and the fatal blows, you don't really feel it. And the last thing I'll go on, and this is the one where it's a question mark for me, and Upay said the same thing to me. There's something called, I think it's like fatal blow or something, but anyway, it's like this game's version of X-ray. It's like a sparking blast or an X Factor, where they kind of give you a option to do massive damage. Now, you can hit confirm into it, or you can just do it raw. I'm not too sure. It's both triggers, by the way. You press both triggers together like an X-ray on Mortal Kombat X. And once you do this move, you're going to do about 20% of the opponent's health, maybe a little bit more. It might depend on the character as well. And from the most part, these did look kind of safe on block. So it is a little bit of a question mark. But as in Tekken 7, which is praised as a fantastic fighting game, the rage arts and stuff weren't like that. Yes, they happen, but they're not like an absolute must. We'll just have to see how that goes. It wasn't like a prevalent factor in the games that I was playing. There were a couple that would decide on it, but in general, it's interesting. The main reason why I think it's in the game as it is because it is slower paced and it is reset to neutral a lot more. If you are quite far behind, obviously having this ability to combo into maybe 30-35% damage will be that extra lift you need to get back in the game. Whereas maybe the developers did think, if you're behind on this game, it could be quite difficult to make that comeback without it. So that's my first thoughts. Obviously, I'll be sort of thinking about it all in the experience. I'm still kind of sort of digesting and processing everything that happened, because it was just so cool. No Cyrax, sadly, but it didn't really matter because all the characters there were actually super fun to play and really cool. So thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll see you next time.